What's up, y'all? It's your favorite political reaction host, Olivia Rondo, coming at you again with yet another reaction video. Today, I kind of don't want to do this one, and you guys are going to see why in a second. It's very scary, y'all. It's very scary. I don't even want to look at this individual for an extended period of time, but I'm going to take you all along, and we're going to do it together, and we're just going to go on this journey, and, you know, everyone's going to be okay, hopefully. Let's get started. I'm only doing this because Kristi Noem is in it, okay? Let's go.
My ask of you is, what is your plan with regard to FEMA? Are you planning to eliminate FEMA? Your testimony references that you want to, quote, eliminate dysfunction of the current agency. I'm unclear. I don't know if my colleagues are clear on what you mean by dysfunction. And I'm concerned that you're causing more dysfunction within the workforce that should be preparing itself for the pending hurricane season.
Okay. Jump scare, right? First of all, jump scare. This lady, Congresswoman Rosa DeLaura, I'm pretty sure is how you say her name. I think it's a lady. I think it's a congresswoman. Still not really sure. You really never know with the Democrat Party. Are they biological men or biological women? I do believe it's a biological woman who just chooses to look like that. Jump scare every time, man. I don't know if it's a wig or a hairpiece or a hat. It kind of just looks like whatever it is, she threw it up in the air and then walked under it and just let it land, you know, wherever it decided to. You know, I'm not really one to judge people's looks. I'm a woman in the public eye, and I clearly enjoy like sometimes a funky or not super traditional look. That's too much. That's too much for the office. That's too much. You don't need to be in Congress with purple hair dye. I don't like that. I'm no stranger to hair dye, clearly, okay? I'm not in Congress, though. I don't look ridiculous. At least I don't think so. Sometimes people say I look like Sideshow Bob. But that is just... I'm going to try to get through this. Sorry.
Thank you for your question and the discussion on this topic today. President Trump has been very clear since the beginning that he believes that FEMA and its response in many, many circumstances has failed the American people, and that FEMA as it exists today should be eliminated and empowering states to respond to disasters with federal government
if you'll just,
support.
With all due respect, where is the evidence of the failure of FEMA? I don't know about everybody else.
Really? I mean, like... Even if we don't even talk about stuff that happened recently as last year, as what happened in Asheville, North Carolina, and other areas that were greatly hit by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, where people weren't reached by FEMA for days or even weeks, left without food, water, electricity. In Florida, there was even a scandal where a FEMA worker was directing people, I believe this was either Florida or Georgia, a FEMA worker was directing federal workers to skip houses with Trump signs in the yard because they thought it was going to be hostile. They perceived it to be a hostile environment if you're a Trump supporting home. So like these are recent failures, but even if you go back 2 decades ago to Hurricane Katrina, how FEMA left thousands of people in Louisiana stranded with skipping house. I mean, like, it's like, do you guys even know what's going on? Do we even read history? Do we watch the news anymore? Or do we just sit home and put on our wig? I guess that's what we do now.
On this, my state, Connecticut, was hit very, very hard with Superstorm Sandy. Every community in some way or another has been hit by that. And the FEMA on the ground, people come in, work with the families, deal with getting the funding out. Where is the evidence of the failure of FEMA?
Congresswoman, we still have claims open from Hurricane Katrina. We have fire claims that are still unpaid to people who said they were due them 7 to 8 to 10 years old. They have never been paid by FEMA. So one of the worst things that the federal government can do is to stand up in front of the American public and say, we will be there. We will walk alongside you in the most horrible time of your life, and then never follow through on it. Well, that's what the president has said is he's...
Thank you. I was wondering, is somebody going to bring up Hurricane Katrina? I mean, it just baffles me how certain, I guess, really inconvenient facts about how the American government has treated its citizens and treated us over the years, like Ms. Noem said, like Secretary Noem said, through the worst times of people's lives, through natural disasters. Like, I mean, The California fires are another example. Like, people are not getting the help that they need. The fact that there are people who still have claims open from Hurricane Katrina is insane. See, I didn't even know that. I'm glad she brought that up. Let's go.
Sick and tired of federal agencies that pick and choose who wins and who loses. He wants to make sure that the federal government's commitment, when it makes a commitment, that it follows through. So he's going to empower states.
The federal government is abdicating its commitment to the American people who find themselves.
Certainly under Joe Biden's administration.
Let me just say this to you. The Office of Professional Responsibility. The Office of Professional, because I knew you were going to go there. As you know, FEMA's Office of Professional Responsibility, under the Biden administration, there was no evidence, no direction or agency or field leadership to discriminate against disaster victims based on political affiliation, which was in charge.
I'll follow up with you.
Well, and I will.
We literally know that a FEMA regional director, she went on the news and said that this was a directive that FEMA was using at the time. A FEMA director on the ground after hurricanes down in the South told field workers to go buy houses that had a Trump sign in the yards. I don't know, like, if there's any way to spin that makes it sound good for FEMA or good for the Biden administration. I don't think there is. She's just denying that this ever happened. Look it up, y'all. It's a real thing that really happened.
Follow up. I will follow up, and I follow up with my colleagues, quite frankly, and to really listen to people whose states, communities have been devastated, and what role FEMA has played. I don't know how many millions and millions of dollars went out in Louisiana. Actually, I've asked my staff to calculate that when Katrina hit, and the response was overwhelming. And the response has been overwhelming. If you want to make corrections, that's fine. We all agree with that.
Yeah, we can point to thousands and thousands of air.
Well, if you wouldn't mind getting this committee, the information and the evidence where you talk about the dysfunction of the agency and where it has really failed, that would be important to those of us who are appropriating dollars. And it would appear that the administration overall has a way in which they're looking at dismantling the federal government. The states will never have the amount of money because the federal government isn't going to pass that money to the states to be able to deal with what happens. It's when the federal government comes in and be able to give a hand to do that. And I think it's very clear from what you said that both yourself and the president really want to dismantle the federal government and the agencies that have provided service to the American people for decades. I thank the chair for your time and yield back.
Are you done? Is she done? Okay, she's done. Okay, the witch is done, y'all. The witch is done. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're in the land of Oz, and we just dropped a house on the Wicked Witch of the West, or however that movie goes. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Yeah, I basically only even agreed to react to this one because I saw Kristi Noem was in it. I was like, okay, her beauty is clearly going to offset whatever we have to suffer through here, but it almost wasn't even enough because the camera was mostly on Congresswoman DeLauro. Damn, that's rough. Damn. I really didn't even want to make this reaction about the outfit, but damn. Between the rings, the hair, the fit, the glasses, the hunched over, it's not becoming of you, Congressman. It's not a good look. And just getting mad over trying to hold the federal government accountable is like the craziest thing to get mad about. I guess that's kind of the Democrats' calling card at this point. Republicans want to hold the federal government accountable for waste, fraud, and abuse, including with DOJ, including with, investigating fraudulent spending and trying to shut down wasteful departments, maybe like FEMA. I'm not saying FEMA is all wasteful and all fraudulent, but I think that Noem is correct when she gives her assessment that it hasn't done right by the American people. And giving states the power over their emergency management without the federal government coming over and saying, oh, actually, we're going to take this sector and then not do anything for the people in it. I think there's an argument certainly to be made there. Now, I'm not an emergency management expert. I don't work for DHS. I'm not in Congress, so maybe even Rosa DeLauro knows more than me. I'm sure she knows more than me. But the way that she is responding to this, it's almost like, well, it's not almost like, this is my real opinion, but It's like she's answering to or she's listening to respond, not listening to understand. And I think that's a common theme with a lot of these House and Senate committee testimonies and hearings and things like that. It's just like, you got her up here not even to ask questions. You got her up here to yell at her and berate her and grill her about what the Trump administration wants to do with FEMA when you have no solution. Of course you don't know what happened in Hurricane Katrina. Of course she's going to say, well, I got my staffers, you're from Connecticut, and she's saying, I got my staffers to look at the numbers, how much money they sent to Louisiana. Okay, millions of dollars. It clearly wasn't enough. We still have claims open from decades ago. Like, when did Katrina happen? 2004? Don't quote me, but it's like 20 years ago at this point. Like, holy crap. I was barely alive when that happened, and I know what happened. Like, there's no excuse for this. I love that Noem remained composed. She looks beautiful. I know that's not the point of the job, and she's a respected woman in a respected office and everything, but just like the juxtaposition, of her looking calm, cool, and collected, and this witch up here cackling and going like this and trying to grill her on something that she clearly doesn't even know about herself. It's just perfect. It's really perfect. I am glad that I watched this because I really have tried to not look at this lady for too long, this congresswoman. I'm glad I watched because she made a freaking fool out of herself. And the straight face on everybody in the background also kills me because nobody is like, ooh, she got her on that one. Everyone's just like, yeah. Kind of disappointing that these are elected officials. Actually, very disappointing that these are elected officials. I know that we've had a lot of debate going back and forth if Kristi Noem is a good Secretary for Homeland Security. I think she's been doing pretty good so far. I do think she's been doing pretty good so far. I mean, she held her own here, certainly, and she's been helping Tom Homan, the border czar, get a bunch of illegal migrants out of this country, which I think is a great job that she's doing there. And yeah, I guess we'll see over the next 4 years. And I hope this witch exits this Congress soon. What do you guys think? Leave your comments and opinions in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe to Politibrawl, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.